Alrighty, welcome to episode 181 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla has moderated its autopilot sin bin behavior in its latest software version 2024.14.7. Any accrued strikes are expunged following a consecutive 7-day period of no strikes being earned. Western Australia's WAEV network has further progressed with Synergy's 150 kilowatt Kempower fast DC charger site at Brookton now commissioned and open to all EVs to use. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and welcome to another episode of Ask Us Anything. And as is customary, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so, please unmute and say hello.
Yeah,
Hello,
hey,
can you
how are
hear?
you?
Oh, sorry, Nazrin. Trev, you go first. And actually, ladies first. Nazrin, welcome.
Oh, sorry, I didn't ask. Hi, my name is Nasreen, and what should I say to introduce myself?
Tell us about your car. Do you have a Tesla yet, or do you have one on order?
Yes, yes. I've 1 month old Model Y, and yeah, I'm quite happy and impressed by the experience of Tesla.
Fantastic, and congratulations. You really have
Thank
bought
you.
one of the world's most awesome cars, and actually the world's best-selling car. So,
Yes,
congratulations on your new purchase. And obviously, this is the right place to ask any questions whatsoever. And this goes for anyone in the room and anyone thinking about joining us. If you've seen a YouTube video or a X post, please feel free to come on and just ask the most basic of questions, because after all of us had no idea how Teslas worked until we got them and did research. So congratulations once again and welcome.
thank you.
And we'll go to Trev.
Yeah, hey, we're imminently expecting a Model 3 long range. The date now is down to the 31st of this month to the 20th of next month, so not far away.
Fantastic. Excellent. How long had you ordered the car for?
First week of April. We did look about 12 months ago at getting one, but something came up with one of our other cars with a warranty issue, and we've been pursuing that for a while. But the neighbour brought his Model S up here, 12 months ago, and we were pretty sold on it. And then just been narrowing it down. And then, we went up there. We had it narrowed down to a plug-in hybrid and the Tesla, and we went up to Perth for test drives. And as soon as we hopped in the Tesla, we knew what we were getting. So we bought it a couple of days later.
And congratulations on not getting, I guess it sounds a bit harsh, but not getting sucked into the hybrid fantasy of it being a stepping stone to the future. The future
So we've
really is
already
electric.
got a hybrid. I've got a Prius we've had forever, and I'm a bit of a DIYer, and I'm a Sparky and a fitter, so I've done battery cell replacements on it and torn it apart, put it back together. It's still going. It's been a great car, but it's the car that we had our heart set on, that was a plug-in hybrid. It actually, the deal breaker was that the model that we wanted, they moved the sunroof and they made it impossible to get an adult in the back. And as soon as we hopped in that, we're like, well, if the adults don't fit in the back and I can't use it to carpool to work, then we're not getting it.
Cool. Well, you're going to get an awesome car, and yeah, it really is awesome, and look, it's worth the wait. It won't be too long. You can definitely guarantee that it will be gotten to you no matter what happens before the 30th of June, because that's obviously the end of quarter. So that's always Tesla's key performance indicator, is actual sales for each quarter. And they don't want to have cars sitting around. Fantastic. Alrighty. So has anyone got any opening questions or comments? Oh, actually, before I start that, so just to clarify with the strikes, all you have to do is basically not get any autopilot strikes for 7 days in a row. Once that happens, all of your strikes.
In that particular car, Harold, because it's linked to the car. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Pete. Not many of us have multi-fleets like you do, so I was mainly referring to
Speak
individual
for
owners.
yourself, Harold.
So sorry, yes. So just to clarify, the autopilot strikes actually are earned on that car, and it doesn't matter who earns it, which profile is opened, the car itself gets the strike. Depending on type of cars, I think in Australia they're all 5 strikes. I think it's only the Model S and the Model X, which we can't get, the new ones. Oh, actually, sorry, I take that back. I think the older X's can get it as well. But you either have between 3 and 5 strikes. And if you do that, you are then banned from using autopilot for a week. And then at the end of the week, you get all your strikes back. Now Tesla has moderated that pretty harsh policy, because let's face it, as rare in some cases as it is to get a strike, because most of us are very diligent, you inevitably will get one by accident. And sometimes it's by situational awareness. I remember the first time I got a strike, I sort of saw something on the screen. I was concentrating on what it was saying, and it was saying, pay attention to the road. And I remember wiggling the steering wheel going, I am. And then of course it didn't like the fact I wasn't looking at the road. So I got a strike. And then I couldn't work out what just happened. And then I ended up getting another strike within about 2 minutes after that. And then I cottoned on that it was the camera, and then I never got a strike again. So all of us were eventually going to be doomed to having a week holiday from autopilot, because you'd inevitably accrue strikes like barnacles. And if they never came off, well, that's pretty draconian. Thankfully, Tesla has seen the light, and all you have to do in that one car, if it has any strikes, is just not get any strikes for 7 days in a row, and then they will all come off. So just a quick example, imagine you get a strike on Monday, another one on Tuesday, another one on Wednesday. If you make it to the next Wednesday without any strikes, all the strikes will come off. But none will come off until you've had 7 clear days. So that's that. And also we've got, obviously in the news, Brookton is now open. That is Synergy's 4th last site to do. So the only sites outstanding are Kalbarri, Ravensthorpe, the DC part of Ravensthorpe, and Northam. And then that will be all of Synergy's sites completed. And I think that'll come as a relief to many in Synergy. And it's great reward for us to get them basically within the next month or two, which is fantastic. Alrighty, has anyone got any?
There'll still be a bit.
Hey?
Oh, sorry. I was just saying there's still about half a dozen or more Horizon sites to be done,
Oh, yes.
correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, probably more than that actually. And there's been a little bit of bad news about, speaking of Horizon Power, a couple of things. One thing, if anyone's watching this on the replay, it'll be old news, but currently Norseman is experiencing a unscheduled power outage, but they are hoping to have power restored. This is the town, and presumably including the WAEV network charger, is experiencing an unscheduled outage, which is expected to be fixed by about 8:30 tonight. So that's in about 3/4 of an hour. But also the Pardue site has currently been switched off. So Rob Dean, our TOCWAS chair, went past Pardue a couple of days ago, I think from memory, and it has unfortunately been turned off for a couple of weeks, which is not ideal, but hopefully Horizon Power and others are working on a long-term solution. But like you said, Pete, it is progressing. I think most of the sites up the northern part of Western Australia will be completed over the next couple of months, or that's what they're scheduled to do, with the exception of the Nullarbor sites, which will be hopefully completed by about September. Alrighty. Anyone got any opening questions or comments?
Just quickly, while I'm still talking, if I could just make one comment, which is the announcement just here on Ask Us Anything about our track day. This is the one for the electric go-karts. So expect an email from Harold sometime in the coming week. But yeah, save the date if you can for the time being, for the 7th of July. It will be in Joondalup at 3:15 p.m. So that's the 7th of July at 3:15 p.m. in Joondalup. This will be the 4th time that TOC was holding this event, and each time it's been sold out each time. So keep an eye out for Harold's email.
And since we're talking about events, for those who remember or have seen, we were planning to have a casual meetup this Sunday. Basically, because of the absolutely diabolical weather that's expected, we're going to push that to next Sunday. And I think it'll be a bit better too, because this weekend is a long weekend, and I think many people will be wanting to take their awesome cars on road trips. So mainly because of the inclement weather, we're going to postpone that casual meetup till next Sunday. Obviously, you'll get, if you're a financial member of TOCWA, you'll get an email from me basically the Monday before that Sunday. So that'll be next Monday. Alrighty, any other opening questions or comments, especially from anyone who's new, and feel free to ask any question at all. Nothing
Just
yet?
quickly, no
A
one's got
couple
a
little ones then.
I'll get going, Trev.
Wife and I noticed on Facebook a few times people have put up posts and they know that the ship that it's on.
Yes.
We were curious. She's pretty excited to be able to track the boat coming across if we're able to do it. Is there a way to know, or is it just that we're not close enough to delivery that they haven't told us what ship it's on yet?
No, so what you do is you go to, hopefully that has come up. Let me just fix this up. So you go to Moleace. So you just type in moleace.com/TRK/search. And what you do is you enter in your VIN. Now, don't tell me your VIN, but you enter it in here. So just put the VIN, and then you hit search. And then that will tell you precisely what ship it's on and when it's due to arrive. So if you forget that, just Google Moleace, M-O-L-A-C-E.
Yep.
And one of the
Sounds like
bonus...
Nazrin's got a question, Harold.
Oh, yes. Oh, actually, sorry. Penny Jackson just raised her hand. Well, yes, hi, Penny. So, and then we'll go to Nazrin too.
Okay. I've been away for 6 weeks. I sold my present car, so I'm in the deep end. I have to buy a Tesla, but I was advised to wait until I came back or whatever. And I'm going to get a Y. And I very briefly had a look at the website yesterday, and it seems the Y has come down considerably in price. Does that mean that there is old stock that they want to get rid of?
Not at all. No, this was a across the board new car price reduction. In fact,
What do you mean?
So in other words, they actually reduced the price. So for example, if you had a car on order at the higher price and you had not yet received it, all of those people with outstanding orders get the lower price. So let's call it it's probably more, well, Tesla does price reductions for various reasons, actually increases and reductions for various reasons. Part of the reason will be they're passing on savings that they themselves have gotten from materials, production costs, etc. There are also macroeconomic reasons, such as a deflated car market in general, or deflated economy. So there are interest rates, which is the prime thing. That's because, let's face it, Australia is currently officially going through a per capita recession, not a classic economic recession by the definition of 2 quarters of negative growth, but per capita, we're going backwards, and it's only our massive levels of immigration, net migration, that has actually, or net immigration, sorry, that has boosted our economy. So it's a bit of a stimulus thing, and look, it's a great deal. I mean, obviously,
it is a great deal. That's why I thought it's almost too good to be true.
And it goes further than that. So basically the standard range Model Y you can get on road, including the $3,500 WA government EV rebate.
Yeah.
You can get on road just slightly above $59,000, and the Model 3 you can get on road just slightly below $58,000. So the actual price difference is compressed between the two models, and it's a compelling deal. Now, if you
It
can
is.
also if you also combine that with a novated lease, or if you have a small business, the tax benefits are almost illegal. They're so good that they should almost be illegal. Basically, you become zero rated for fringe benefits tax,
Mm.
provided the car does not have any luxury car tax attached to it, and the threshold is about $89,000. So basically, nearly every version of the Teslas available in Australia qualify, except for some of the Performance Model Y variants. So yeah, it's a great deal.
Okay.
So
That's reassured me, because I just thought it looked too, I mean, and I haven't been, like I said, I haven't been around for 6 weeks, and it's obviously come in the last 6 weeks while I've been away, and I thought, what is it? What's the catch, sort of thing, I suppose.
there's literally no catch. I'm just looking. There
Wow.
are actually some inventory Model Ys in stock, which you could consider. The best thing is, look, I think you're okay. Actually, have you worked out that you want a Model Y or a Model 3?
I want a Model Y,
Oh, great, fantastic. Okay,
and
so
I'm thinking the standard.
standard range, yes, and
Yeah.
to be honest, that is the best value.
Yeah.
And on a day by day basis, it's actually the longest range car you can have access to easily every day, because you charge the battery to 100% all day, every day. Whereas the long range variants, it's recommended on a daily basis to only charge it to 80%. That's not to say that you cannot absolutely charge it to 100%
Mm.
so as to embark on a longer trip. And there are some advantages with that. But standard range Model Y in what we call Poverty Pearl White, which is a
Yeah.
very lovely color.
That was when the first time I came on, someone mentioned that, and I thought, oh, that's good.
Yeah, I've got Poverty Pearl White. I love it. It's a great deal.
Yeah.
And like I said, for on roads at just over $59,000, and the WA government rebate is guaranteed, because the rebate has to be applied for no later than the 10th of March next year. There's no longer a cap on numbers. So as long as you get your car before then,
Okay.
it'll be fine.
Oh, well, I shall put
So
in my order in the next couple of days. Can
very
I
good. And you
just
can, yeah, sorry, get going.
can I just say, I was in the UK, and I was interested to see how many Teslas were driving around, etc. Except in London, I didn't see hardly any. But what I found interesting was I went to the Museum of Transport in Glasgow, which is the most fantastic museum. And right as you walk in, there's a 2014 Tesla there. And it was the only modern car there.
Yes, because it's a real breakthrough.
Mm.
And it'll be known. There were obviously other EVs that existed before Tesla, clearly, but that's Tesla's first mainstream product,
Mm.
and it deserves to be in a museum. And actually, I was in Glasgow a few weeks ago, but we didn't have time to go to the museum. It would have been awesome.
It is a brilliant museum. The way they have set out, the actual building even is awesome. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you for that.
And like I said, you can just literally, look, you can absolutely go into the showroom, have a final look at the cars there that are there to be seen and sat in, and you can order on one of the computers with the assistance of one of the salespeople, or you can literally just in the comfort of your PC or mobile phone. It takes about a minute to actually
Yes.
do a purchase. It's so quick. It's
I've got as far as not pressing the order button, but I have worked my way through the online. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Okay.
So,
Well, I've got something to do in the next couple of days.
yes, so congratulations in advance on your impending order,
Okay.
and
Thank you.
and hopefully you'll get it very quickly.
Well, yes, I think they were saying 2 to 3 weeks on
Yep.
the website, I think. Yeah.
Yep, fantastic. Alrighty,
Harold, should Penny
yes,
order a
Steve.
UMC at the same time?
No, Penny's already got that's the charger, isn't it? You're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yes,
Yes, that's why I'm committed. I've already bought one secondhand when I saw one come up. So yeah.
there you go.
So
Fantastic.
I've basically got to buy the car to match the charger.
Yes. Well, that's okay. That makes a lot of sense. You buy an interesting accessory for, a few $100s, and then you necessitates the
Yeah.
purchase of a bigger
Exactly.
accessory for a few dozen $1,000s.
Yes, that's the way I looked at it too.
Excellent. Alrighty. Nazrin, you were wanted to ask a question a moment ago.
Yes, I typed it in the chat. If you could read it, please.
Oh, sorry. I didn't have the chat up. So let me just have a look. My driver's side headrest isn't locking into the seat back after I tried to remove it and may have caused damage. I did follow the user's manual when asked. They gave me $470. Ooh, it's an inspection will cost close to this. Right. So let me be clear. This is a model. That was a Model Y, Model 3?
Yeah, Model Y.
Model Y. So the headrest, I thought Model Ys, you mean in the back seat?
No, the driver's seat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that they were removable.
They're not. They're fixed.
Oh. So,
The user manual had an instruction to remove it.
They're not fixed. I'm pretty sure they're not fixed. There's a button on one of the steel rods that you can press from the inside, and that releases it, and then you can pull it out.
I
Pretty sure
tried every which way and to remove it. Just like the Lexus used to, and could not get in there. I couldn't even get my fingertips in there.
so Nazrin, what you're saying?
It was really hard. It
To get it
needed a
out.
lot of push of the leather down to get the pin or the latch.
Yep.
And to release them. But once they release, then it seems that they are out of the location. Somehow they don't work again. They don't. Yeah.
Right, so you tried to put it back in, and it's not, it's
Yeah.
loose, is it? Or it's not, or you can't get it back in?
It goes back in, but it's not locked. So it easily, it can
Comes out.
easily, come out. Yeah.
Is it possible that, okay, so you had to push a button. Maybe if you take it out and make sure that that button is relaxed, like it's not still pushed in. So in other words, try and sort of pop it out a little bit so that the latch then becomes latchable. Because I think most of these things have like little notches so you can adjust the height. I
Correct.
guess,
No, it
I
doesn't.
presume.
Yeah. The design is really weird. It doesn't match the level of customization in Tesla. This headrest doesn't match it. It couldn't be removed easily. We just followed the instruction, hoping that it will work. But once it was removed, then no, I did that. I did what you said, but it just goes there and stays there loosely.
I think what it could be, Nazrin, is, as you said, the actual leather, the actual seat, you had to, get that out of the way to be able to get to the latch. I'm thinking that the seat might be pressing on the latch, which is keeping it pushed in, hence why it's not locking when you push it back down.
It might be, I don't know. but whatever we tried, we were not successful. And that makes me think of maybe this can be a fault. I'm not sure. Can we claim it as a fault? Because the manual says it can be removed and put back, but then it doesn't work that way. So what do you
Yeah,
think?
so it says align the headrest post with the openings on the top of the seat and slide them in. You may have to push the seat back forward because the clips in the seat back must also align with the headrest arms. Push the headrest down until secure. You may hear a click to indicate it is latched in place. I guess,
Harold,
yes,
I've just looked at the
James.
video. There's a picture in the chat. There's like a little wire clip that you can see. They can be removed, but that clip is apparently difficult to get back in. If you just look at the photo,
Right.
not the video.
Oh, sorry, photo. You got it. Okay, got it. So I'm just going to bring the photo up there. So
that's
is it
what
this,
locks in place. Yeah.
this bit here, that bit of metal, is it? That's the bit.
Yes.
And you have to push that in to make
You-
sure, or pull it out to make sure
It's like a
latched.
spring piece of metal from the look of it. You have to pull it out to get it
Yep.
out, but then you have to kind of, it's quite tricky to get back in from what video that I just linked. But that's
Okay.
what locks it in place.
Let me just spool up the video if it's concise.
Skip the first like 30
That's-
seconds.
A common question about the Model 3 is, are the headrests adjustable on the seats? Well, if you try, you could be forgiven for thinking they're stuck there and that there's no adjustment or you can't take them off. But actually, it can happen. There is a trick to it, and we're going to show you how. You need to get your fingers right underneath the edge of one of the headrests and then pull the fabric down, and you'll see that little grey clip. And that clip is actually holding the headrest in on each side. There's one on each side, so you just prise it slightly out, pull the headrest up slightly till it disengages, then do the same thing on the other side. Just pull the fabric down there, pull the little grey clip out, and then push the headrest up slightly. And once you've done that, the headrest can come off completely, or you can adjust it to any height you desire. So that's our tip for today. Join us again for more tips, tricks and advice on Tesla Gurus. Bye for now. Rest up slightly till it disengages.
Okay, so what if in the process of moving it to the side, it hasn't actually, it's bent it away too far? Let's have a look.
Actually holding the headrest in on each side. There's one on each side, so you just prise it slightly out, pull.
So that's obviously what you did, Nazrin.
Yeah,
Okay, what I'll do is,
it wasn't that easy. It was really hard.
yeah,
Okay, you shouldn't have to do that. There's a latch that like a button that you can press. So yeah, that's quite odd, that video. But yeah, I know on my cars I've got a button, and you literally, it's only on one of those rods, and I think it's from the inside, and you just press that in, and the whole thing comes out. You don't have to get a screwdriver to do any of that.
No, in my car, it doesn't have any button. It looks like this video.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I pushed the fabric down on mine just as Rin did, and the same. I saw the hardware and I thought, this is not adjustable on the fly. This is tools.
What should we do now? There's $470.
okay, so what does it actually do?
Reasonable?
So you push it all the way back down. Actually, no, that shouldn't work, because the whole point is, if it is a height adjustable, once you let go, it should latch and stay in that position. Maybe just check if you have to use a screwdriver to get that piece of metal to the side. Just make sure that there's nothing binding with that metal that's stopping it from touching onto the rod the actual shaft. So in other words, make sure, I'll just get the right thing here.
I would take
Make-
it back to
make
the
sure
to the service
back in-
center and ask them to show you.
Yeah, well, you could try and do that too. You could
Yeah,
try
but
and
Harold,
do
it's about removing the headrest, Harold, not adjusting its height. That's why it's a one-off thing. You
One-off
have to
thing.
move the latch across to lift the whole thing off.
See,
But
on
if you-
my Model 3, I can adjust the height. I just press the button and
Yeah, but
it
Pete,
clicks. It's like
But Pete, yours is ancient. Remember Tesla, they make revisions on a monthly basis. So they would have revised the mechanism to make it cheaper.
Yeah, here's
So-
special cars, Peter. Here's special Teslas.
well, I'm pretty sure it works the same on my 23 Model Y, and that's not even that's a late 23, so it's less than 6 months old. So
Nazreen, look, I
Who's
would
brave
recommend
enough to go into their car and test it?
you go to the service center and just ask them. Just ask at the counter, which is on the left-hand side. It's the eastern side. It's a smaller building, and just say, "Look, I'm having a problem with my headrest. Can you please just show me how to put it in?" And they'll probably do it there and then.
Okay. So I pretend that I don't know about the codes, because once they gave me the code to inspect, they said it takes a lot of labor,
No, I
It
can't.
costs
Look, I mean, the point is that's the amount of labor is involved is to look into this. They just need to make sure this is in the correct position, and then it will relatch. So
Okay.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of labor. They'll be able to work out in 3 minutes whether it's going to work or not. And look, and I think you're right. If you followed the instructions, and Tesla has officially stated these things are removable by the customer, and all you've done is remove it under their instructions as a customer, then actually I would be inclined to encourage Tesla to basically make it right. Unless they can prove that, I don't know, you used a crowbar to bend it or something incorrectly, they should make it good. But I think that the quickest way of achieving that, rather than booking in a service request and all that sort of stuff, is just go there and just ask the question. Just say, you're having trouble with the headrest. Can you please put it back in? And see what they do.
Okay, thanks. I will do that.
And look, and also, if you're a member of the club and you have a concern, actually, even before that level, if you're not happy with something that occurs at service, you can ask for that to be escalated. So you can say, look, I'm not happy with that, with your invitation for me to spend hundreds of dollars on something, and you can ask them to have that escalated to their manager, who is in Western Australia. And if you're still not happy, you can raise it with us, and then we can raise it with Tesla directly to advocate on any member's behalf for things that are reasonable, obviously,
Okay.
So I just pop in there and try your luck and just ask them.
Thank you.
But actually, they'll probably be quite busy at the moment because they're doing deliveries, or they're assisting with deliveries or preparing cars, so they might be quite busy. So if it's not too inconvenient, if you sort of hold off for maybe just before the end of the month when all the deliveries are finished, so that you know that they're basically not busy, if that's possible, then you'll have a much better chance of getting someone to do that.
You mean end of May
No,
or
end of
May?
June.
Or June? June. Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, Harold, I've just clicked on the Australian Owners Manual website, and it says headrest supports include integrated head supports that cannot be adjusted, that you cannot adjust. There was front seat.
So it's only to remove then.
I didn't want to adjust. I just removed it to put a hook behind the seat and then put it back. So it wasn't about adjustment.
Well, hang on a sec. So have you tried to put it back without the hook?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay,
Doesn't-
okay. Because
doesn't
a
work.
hook would actually possibly stop it from going all the way fully down enough to be latched. So do make sure that you've tried to put the headrest back without that hook.
Yeah, I
That's
do.
correct.
It's
Oh,
a
okay.
very thin hook. Maybe the thickness is
It doesn't
maybe
matter.
just
No, no,
a millimeter, but
it doesn't matter because
I
a
still
millimeter,
think
if it's, I don't exactly know that. If it's not adjustable, what it probably has is one little hole that has to line up with that pit, with that rod precisely. And a millimeter can make all the difference between it engaging and clicking and not. So
Yeah.
I mean, you already have said that you've tried it without the hook.
Yeah.
But
maybe I do it again. I try again.
try it again,
Maybe this
yes,
time.
without the
Yeah.
hook. And then push it down quite hard to make sure, because obviously you've got all this padding of the seat at the top and also of the headrest. Make sure it's firmly down, and hopefully you'll hear that latching noise.
Okay. Sure.
And if you don't, just pop into service. Look, if it's urgent, relatively urgent, because you don't feel safe driving your car, if it's a driver's seat, for example, then do just take it in straight away. But if it's not urgent, then my recommendation is wait until the end of June, because then all of the deliveries will be finished and the service team will be going back to normal activities.
Okay. I'll do that. Thank you.
Cool. Alrighty. Has anyone else got any questions or comments?
Yeah, Harold. I have a go.
Yes. I'm not going to
Yeah.
call you Susan, but that's the
No,
name.
no, I'm Brenton. I'm on Susan's account. I'm
Excellent.
the other one here. I've got the Y. Just a question recharging. I've just bought a 5-pin 3-phase adapter for the UMC, but I'm curious why it's limited to 32 amps. That we actually have a wall charger at home on 3-phase, and that gives us the 11 kilowatts.
Yep.
But you do the sums, and that works out. But how come if you've got a 3-phase adapter, 5-pin 3-phase, that you're limited to 7 kilowatts?
Yep. So the reason it's limited to 7 kilowatts is because the actual adapter is, sorry, the plug, yes, it is a 5-pin 3-phase Clipsal plug, but the UMC itself, the Universal Mobile Connector, is specifically a single-phase only device. So if you actually pull the tail out of the body of the UMC and you look at down the pins of the tail, you will see that only 3 pins have got metal in them that are populated with actual connecting pins.
Yep.
The other ones are blanks. So back when they first revised the UMC, I guess there were plans to have a 3-phase version, and Tesla in its wisdom has decided not to go along with those plans or complete those plans. So all the UMCs are single phase. Yes, the plug's 3-phase, but it's only going to pass one single phase to your car, and hence 32 times 240, 32 amps times 240 volts is roughly 7.5 kilowatts. So that's what it will do.
The internal rectifier in the car, is that a 3-phase rectifier or a single phase?
Yes, it is. So,
rectifier?
so the Tesla can accept either a maximum of 32 amps single phase or 16 amps 3-phase. So either 7.6 kilowatts or 11.5 kilowatts, roughly. Now, in a Model Y, that's about 50 k's an hour on the single phase and about 75 to 80 kilometers an hour on 3-phase.
Okay, so the constraint is actually the UMC cable,
Yes.
not the car.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you were, for example, to purchase a Tesla wall connector, which costs $800, that is a 3-phase / single phase compatible device. So then if you were to install that at your house, you would then get the full 11.5 kilowatts.
Yeah, we've actually got that, but I just bought this connector thinking it's a a bit of an insurance for if we go on a long drive and there's not a high speed charger somewhere, we might be able to find a 3-phase plug at a
absolutely.
ground or something.
If you actually want 3-phase from a mobile cable, the club used to have them at one point, but now you can get them at fairly good prices on the internet as well. The comms cables. So how much are they now, Harold? Online, are they about $600?
Yes, 700 and something. I think it just depends. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
You'll see some that have a blue plug on them. Don't buy that because that's a Euro spec plug. You need to get the ones that have the Clipsal 32 amp plug on it. Otherwise, you have
I
to
was just
cut
going to put
the end off.
32 amp tail on a wall charger.
Yes, you can. Yeah, and you can do that too. So you can't do that in New Zealand, for example. It's not permitted, but in Australia, it's not recommended in Australia, but it's still permitted. So you can just put a 32 amp 3-phase plug and lead on the wall connector and plug it into your 32 amp 3-phase socket in your house. You can do that.
Just for others watching this, we're only talking about AC charging here. Obviously, the cars can accept 250 up to 250 kilowatts on some of the versions, and up to about 190, 200 odd kilowatts on some of the other versions, the standard range and the rear-wheel drive versions of the cars, if charging on DC, because that's where you bypass the inverter in the car and you go directly DC to the battery. So yeah, everything we've talked about up until this point is just AC charging.
Rectifier, not inverter.
There's no okay. So the car itself. So when it comes to AC charging, in fact, calling anything that's connected to the car a charger is really a misnomer. It is just it's a source of AC power. The car has an onboard charger that rectifies and also it's like a switch mode power supply. Basically, it transforms the AC into the 240 volts AC into roughly 400 volts DC, and it does that internal to the car. So anything you connect via an AC means, so type 2 cable or the universal mobile connector or anything else supplying AC into the car, there's nothing inside that box that transforms the power in any way. It simply delivers the power, and it's the car that determines how much. Well, in a sense, it's a car that transforms that power for its own use.
Yep. Anyway, that's fine. You've answered my question. I understand now.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's a trap. Yeah, a lot of people think that it's 3-phase, but it's not. It just gives you the ability to plug into the 3-phase outlet.
While we're on the subject, we should just quickly mention that if you're going to be using just that pigtail, just that 32 amp 5-pin 3-phase lead on your UMC, try not to use it on any off-grid sites where they have diesel power generators or are running, anything else, because it could lead to a phase imbalance and you could actually knock out the whole site's generator. So, they're really only to be used on grid connected, power points generally.
Got that.
Which, that's preferable. Unfortunately, if you're driving a single phase charging car, such as many Hyundais and quite a few other cars, the BYDs, they actually only have single phase AC charging. So by definition, they already imbalance the system, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Oh, yes. And actually, great news that it was from Rob Dean that at Pardue Homestead, there is now a
HPWC wall connector.
A wall connector. So that is great news. Let me just get back to the actual article where I think he says, I just got to clean up my post here a little bit. He basically says, a big thanks to Chang Yang Yu for donating a brand new Tesla destination charger to Tokwa. It is now safely in the hands of the Pardue Tourist Park for guests to use. And yeah, that's the photo there. So shout out to one of our members for donating that wall connector. And
As an example of a wall connector being plugged in with a, actually no, that was a, in the background, that was a cons, I think.
That's
yeah,
correct.
there's a cons in that 32 pin socket. Yeah.
But the actual, there is a lead because we had it put on. And the good thing about the wall connector is that one has been configured to charge all cars, all EVs. So it'll do all brands of EV, which is great. So
which is nice of it to do.
Yes, that's right. Very magnanimous of us to do that, but it makes sense because we're all, even though we drive the best EVs, the other people that have made a choice to drive other EVs are more than welcome to use some of the club's amenity wherever that's provided. Alrighty, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, Harold, I tried that Mole's website while we've been going through this last few minutes, and says there's no information, so I'm guessing it's still in Shanghai, eh?
Yep.
No, just make sure you've got the whole of the VIN.
Yeah, I've checked it off of
you've got to tell it that it's actually a VIN, not a bill of lading or anything else.
Yeah, I selected that, and I've double checked it off the registration paper as well as the Tesla app, and they both match. And yeah, it comes up, says no information to this VIN assigned.
Unless not all the ships were done by Mole, so you might have been on the transshipment that came from Melbourne, perhaps. That might have been, and that I think that's a different shipping company. So yeah, maybe that's what's happened. So, but the thing is, if you've been given a delivery frame up to the 20th of, so the 5th to the
20th of June.
Yeah, so you can expect what'll happen is you'll get a text message. I think you'll also get an email, but you'll get a text message with a link that invites you to pick a delivery slot. And you normally only have about 2 different days and a couple of time slots. I think the first delivery starts at 11 a.m. and then there's a 1 p.m., 3 p.m. and it can go up to 4 and maybe even 5 p.m. on a particular weekday. So make sure as soon as you get that text or email, make sure you action it straight away to get your preferred slot, or as early as possible. Alrighty, just want to check a couple of things. Yeah, any other questions? And if not, we'll go to.
Nazrin had a hand up.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Oh, we got hands up everywhere. Sorry about that. I should be looking at the other screen rather than just the camera. Nazrin, yes, go.
Yeah. Is it normal that the wipers make a sound, like screeching sound, when it just started raining, when they are still maybe a little dry?
Yes, absolutely. So, and that can also happen depending on what you've washed your car with, or if you've put any other cleaning substance on the windscreen. And if it's quite dry, then you can absolutely, they can even sort of like vibrate as they go across, sort of, jittery sort of fashion. So you could try and do something like clean the windscreen with window cleaner. It's entirely normal, and you'll obviously find if it's raining properly, then it won't be doing that. It'll just glide over.
Yep.
I wouldn't recommend adding any additives to your window wash reservoir. And the best thing that I've found is just the ionized water. That seems to work the best, and it actually is in the Tesla manual. They recommend against anything other than just water. So, but yeah, the ionized water seems to work best. The problem with some of the products is they can get the wipers to stick and grip a bit too much, and then, like Harold said, they start to sort of vibrate along the glass.
Okay.
And a pro tip: if you've got a condensing clothes dryer, that is an awesome free source of deionized water. So some of them have an option of having it plumbed to the drain, so you don't have to worry about the little collection doodad that it fills up, little tank. But I've never connected any of mine to the drain. Always use the DI water, because there's always lots of places you can use it, including Venus flytraps, which, by the way, need to be fed with or watered with deionized water. John, you got your hand up.
Yeah, hi Harold. I'm just thinking about activation of FSD, and I'm just wondering, with all the rapid advancements in the States and going ahead, what does it mean for us? Have we got any functionality with FSD really?
Not at all in a meaningful sense compared to that which the Americans have. Now, Elon Musk has stated in the past, this is a couple of years ago, that the price of a couple of years ago, he said the price of FSD would continue to increase as features came online. So for quite a while, the Americans were paying more than 10,000 US dollars. I think it was 12,000 US dollars for FSD, whereas in Australia it currently costs $10,100 Australian. So we're definitely getting a discounted price, albeit now the Americans have reduced it to, I think, 8,000 US dollars. So we're still slightly ahead. It goes without saying that once FSD, what's now called FSD unsupervised, FSD supervised, comes to Australia eventually, and that could happen any time between a month or two or the end of the year, or worst case next year, then Elon Musk has stated that the price would go up in any jurisdiction where that occurs. So, but he has also promised that if there was a price rise pending, it would be announced before it rose. So it wouldn't just rise overnight and then that would be it. You would be given some days notice, at which point you could then make a decision whether to jump or not. Now it's a great question, because that question is going to turn into an awesome segue, because what I was actually going to show next is an article by Tesla, and that is some FSD supervised highlights, and something that none of us in Australia can actually comprehend, because all we can do is watch videos, and it's just not quite the same as experiencing it.
Yeah.
Especially under local conditions, none of us can actually understand the stark difference that FSD supervised is compared to autopilot. It is literally chalk and cheese. Autopilot has nothing to do with FSD whatsoever. The things that autopilot can't do, the things that FSD supervised can do is vastly more than autopilot could ever dream of attempting. So I'll just run through a couple of these videos. There's only about 5 of them. And bearing in mind that this has been trained on end to end, there is no, let me just go back to the start. So you can basically see the situation. There's roadworks, and you've got double yellow line, which means you're not allowed to cross, and the car, with no programming, follows the leader and goes around the earthworks, the roadworks, as a normal car driver would do. Then this is a great situation with pedestrians. And this car wants to turn right, and it's just waiting for all of these pedestrians to go across. And see the woman in the white on a red light? And it works perfectly. You then got this situation where again there's a car on the shoulder, so it goes over the double white lines very smoothly, doesn't hesitate, just smoothly, and there's even an oncoming car, and it handles it perfectly. Then on this one, you've got a car, you're coming up to an intersection here, there's a car waiting, there's a hold up of traffic here, the car stops short and lets this car to the right come in. It's extraordinary emergent behavior that that the system has worked out through its purely visual training. This one here, you're coming up to an intersection, you got a red light. This wasn't the other car's fault. Apparently the traffic light, the red turning arrow was faulty. Lights turn green. This truck comes in and is about to cut off the Tesla, and it just handles it perfectly. So these are things that Full Self-Driving Supervised do on a daily basis that none of us have seen in Australia. And I dare say once we do see it in Australia, a lot of us are just going to fork out, if you haven't already done so, fork out the 10 grand and go, we're all in. Because
So Harold, if you do already have full self-driving, which I do, this will just be an upgrade straight away.
absolutely.
And a free one at that as well.
Yeah, right.
It will be a no cost free upgrade. But yeah, the software that is running in our cars at the moment, whether it's autopilot or, well, mainly FSD, has not been updated by a human for over 5 years. So for like 5 or 6 years. So yeah, but what FSD Supervised is doing in the US is absolutely incredible. There's another video where the car overtook a whole line of cars that were waiting to turn left and pulled in.
Yeah, this isn't that one, but this is another one that there's rubbish trucks, and it just smoothly and correctly does an illegal thing, technically, on the strict road rules, but it's doing what cars need to do in that situation. And again, it's done that through emergent behavior. It's not something that's hard-coded. This sort of stuff can't be hard-coded into software. I'm not sure if that video you described, Pete, is one of the later videos in this article. It might...
I'm not sure if it's in that article. It looks like that article got all those videos from the Tesla, the official Tesla X account, because the X account had all these examples.
Yep.
This is not it.
Manual people basically waving it through or stopping it. And again, this is emergent behavior. It's mimicking the millions of hours of footage that have been fed into the training computers to basically train the neural network on how to drive a car. And it really is quite astonishing that you get this behavior.
Harold, does it mention which computer that is? Is it the 3 or the 4?
I believe it would mostly be the 3. Currently, Elon Musk has stated that hardware 4 computers are running hardware 3 code in an emulation mode. So they have not yet produced native code for hardware 4 computers.
Oh, okay.
For FSD supervised.
It's
so
not
it's basically
far.
that's right. But it's running it currently in emulation mode. Because I
that-
guess the whole way it's basically the design of the version 4 computer is different. They optimize different things. The first FSD computer, they had to make a best guess at what they thought they might have needed before they even wrote the software or prepared software. So as they keep going through different versions of silicon, they'll be optimizing various parts of it, whether it's video memory space or all the other stuff they have to do. So at the moment, because it's fresh, and that's also why the Cybertruck has not yet gotten FSD or even autopilot, is they haven't ported the code over, and not, well, actually Cybertruck's got other issues as well, but it's basically running in emulation mode. Elon Musk actually said, and this happened to my Model X when I first got it, and I had hardware 2, which was the first Mobileye hardware. I didn't even have anything, nothing. And yet the old hardware 1 cars could do vastly more than my brand new, much dearer Model X, because it was on the new hardware and it took time to develop the software for it.
So Harold, with FSD at the moment, is the red light capacity, when you activate FSD here, does that actually work with FSD?
It does, but only partially. So yes, it will stop on every red light, but if there's a green light, if there's no car in front of you, you have to confirm that the light is in fact green. It will start to slow down.
Yeah.
If there is a leading car in front of you, it will take that car in front of you as confirmation that the light is in fact green, if that makes sense.
Okay, so it just acts like autopilot when the car in front still be very similar if there's a car in front.
Oh, do you mean autopilot or do you mean full self-driving?
No, FSD. I've got, with autopilot, obviously
sorry.
you follow through.
Yeah, okay. So just to explain, there are 3 levels. There is autopilot, which comes free with the car. All the new cars have got autopilot for free. There is then enhanced autopilot, which costs about $5,000. And for that, you'll get navigate on autopilot. What else do you get, Pete? You don't get
you get parallel parking and perpendicular parking. You get
semi-automatic lane changes.
That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
And you get
so when you flick the indicator, it will, provided there's nothing in the way, it will then change lanes automatically upon you manually putting on an indicator. Oh, and also you can use Navigate and Autopilot and have a mode whereby it automatically changes lanes into a faster lane. But as we've explained several times in the past, that doesn't always work properly on say on a freeway, whereby it'll be wrongly in the right-hand lane when it should have been in the middle lane or the left lane, because it's got to take an off-ramp in the next, kilometre or so, or sometimes even less.
Yeah.
And then FSD will get you stop sign, give way sign, roundabout, and traffic light recognition and behavior. So it'll stop at red lights, it'll stop at stop signs, usually, and give way signs and others.
With enhanced autopilot, you also get summon and smart summon.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not worried about. It's not an if, it's a when. It's just making sure I hit it before it escalates in the dollar signs.
Yes, and it's funny because if you asked, I forget how Kathy Wood says it. It's something like, what is it? Nothing ever happens, and then it's suddenly all at once. Yeah. So very slow progress, and then
very slowly, quickly.
Yes, that's right. It happens very slowly and then all at once. It's a little bit like ChatGPT. It sort of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And was quite astonishing and disruptive.
But the other constraint, sorry, Harold, just come in there on the autopilot or enhanced, but with the FSD, I've only had my car a couple of weeks and I hadn't used the summons. And I thought, I want to try this smart summon. So I went out on the weekend and found an empty car park, Bunnings, and thought, I'll just try it where I can watch the car. I'm not very far away from it. I'll see what happens. I could use the backwards and forwards out of the car park, fine. But when I tried to use the smart summons and say, come to me, it just said it's not allowed to use it because it's in a public place. Well, I was in a car park. I know it's not allowed to go on a road. I was in a car park, clearly a car park, but it still said it wasn't allowed to use it. So I thought, well, if everything's sort of regulated out. It's not much use really.
There's two types of car parks. So I'm surprised it didn't actually work at the Bunnings car park, but there's main roads car parks or state-owned car parks, which are geo-fenced out, so won't work on those. And then there's shopping centre car parks, and shopping centres are owned by publicly listed companies or private companies, so that's not considered public road. So in most shopping centre car parks it works. And it does work for me I've tried it on at least 2 or 3 Bunnings car parks and it's worked. So I'm not sure why it's not working on the particular car park that you mentioned. It could be because it's fairly close to a public road and it may still think it's on a public road or too close to it. The version that we have in Australia isn't very reliable either. So sometimes there are connection issues, but if it's actually telling you that it's not, it's refusing to turn on, it's possibly because it's thinking it's a public road when it's a private car park.
It was
a road reserve.
A specific message says it wasn't allowed to use it, but I've only tried it once, so I'll try it somewhere else. Yeah.
Try somewhere else. It might have been that some of these car parks are an amalgam of road reserve and private land sometimes, because I'll have like a lane that comprises part of it and they have parking either side of what effectively is road reserve. So you can't cross a road reserve while you do a smart summon.
Yeah, good point.
Alrighty. Have we got any other questions or comments? No?
Just say before, Harold, you're mentioning about the Cybertrucks not having autopilot. There was a update, a recent one, and they are getting it now.
Oh, fantastic.
Free over-the-air update, yeah. So by the time we get them in Australia, they'll definitely have them. And hopefully there's news on the Cybertruck from Sydney coming this way sometimes in the next few months. But
yes,
we'll,
and as we broke that news, was it last week or the week before, the Cybertruck has officially been confirmed as being intended to be brought to Perth. So I guess we're all going to be there with bells on and lusting over that big hunk of stainless steel.
My brother, who's in Sydney, has been sending me photos with my nephew and in front of the Cybertruck, making me jealous. So can't wait.
Are they allowed to go in the car at all, or is it simply an outside viewing only?
No, locked down, and the tonneau cover's locked as well, so you can't see the bed. But you can get close enough, right up to the glass, and have a look inside, but they don't open them.
Yeah, okay. Well, I dare say the same thing will happen in Perth, no doubt, but it's still worth it. It's great, especially when it's in your local city, to be able to see it.
Yeah.
But it
and
won't...
from all the reports on the internet, on X, on social media, from people that have seen it in real life, is that you've got to see it in real life, that photos don't do it justice. So, yeah, very interested to see it in real life. There's only one person in this room who has seen it in real life. There's another TOCWA member who's going to be driving one in the US very soon. Can't wait till it's here in Perth. The reason why Harold has a big smug on his face is because he's the person I'm talking about.
Yeah, I flew at my own expense to go and see the reveal, the one that Franz van Holzhausen threw the steel ball and broke both windows. So my only regret is I did get the hammer shot when he slammed the hammer into the front door. I got that in slow-mo on my phone, but I didn't get the glass, and that would have been awesome because I was dead center, not very far from the front. But anyway, that seems so long ago, Pete. That was November 2019.
4 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than 4 years ago now. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. 4.5 years ago. So
pre-COVID.
So they,
Well, the funny thing was,
they
I
took
had the
exactly.
most shocking flu. I got the most shocking flu on the way back. I mean, it obviously wasn't COVID, but it was a shocker. I was in bed for a couple of days, and that wasn't the Cybertruck weird looking hangover that you sort of have going, oh, I don't know if I like this or not. But yeah, such a long time ago.
I actually did a video on my very unloved YouTube channel 2 days or 3 days after the reveal, and because there was a lot of people, including a lot of diehard Tesla people, diehard Tesla fans, they were saying, "I'll never get one. This looks horrible. I hate the way it looks," and the media was categorizing it as polarizing. That was their favorite word to use to describe it. But the point I try to make on that video is few people realize, but that was the case with the Sydney Opera House and with the Eiffel Tower and a lot of other things. So the Eiffel Tower, people in Paris were, out on the streets striking, hoping to have it torn down. That's how much the public hated it. And now, everyone loves the Eiffel Tower, and same thing with the Opera House. People hated it because it was just so different. It's just a cognitive bias that humans have to anything that's new. It had, the Eiffel Tower has grown on people, the Opera House has grown on people, and I predicted back then 4 years ago that people would, learn to love the Cybertruck, and a lot of people that said, they would never buy one have changed their minds. So when we start seeing them on our roads, it will change even more. When you see
I got a
them.
text. I distinctly remember getting a text from my wife who was watching the live stream going, "Oh my God, is that it? That's ridiculous. And no, you're not buying one." So I must admit, I'm not a day one reservation holder. I actually ordered on day 3. But anyway.
I'm a day one reservation holder, but that's because my wife wasn't home at the time. So.
Very good. Colin, you've got your hand up, so fire away.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm taking delivery of my Model Y on Friday, and I was just curious if anyone had any advice for anything I should or shouldn't do that might be something I wouldn't have thought of in terms of giving it a once over or checking or making sure it works or anything like that.
So first thing to do is just relax, enjoy the experience. Feel free to take as many photos or even just a video slowly around the car, just in case you miss something. Give it a good look. Make sure you're happy with it. Make sure you've programmed your phone for Bluetooth so that you can drive hands-free. Set up all of your controls, your mirrors, your profile. Name your profile. Basically, make sure you're happy with how to control the car. So yours will have the no stalks. So make sure you know how to put it in park, put it in drive. Actually, one great tip, if you can't be bothered actually pressing the button to put it into park, is just open the front door, driver's door, and then it will
Is
go
that so for the Model Y, Harold?
Yes.
No, not yet.
Oh no, sorry.
The opening the door, yes.
Opening the door, but
doors, no.
I thought that was the revised. I thought that was a mini revision that's coming, Pete.
What's that? Opening the door and having it put in.
No, having no stalks. I thought that was with the hardware 4 computer, the Model Ys, the new ones that are coming out. I thought they didn't have stalks, and they don't have.
No, they definitely do. They definitely do. Yeah.
Even with no ultrasonics.
Yes. So the car that's in Tesla's store in Osborne Park, the Model Y. So there's a Quicksilver Model Y that's in there. That one's got stalks, and it's definitely got hardware 4 because you can see the red dot inside the cameras.
Okay, good to know. So,
Yeah.
sorry, so getting back, Colin, so forget about the buttons, but make sure you're happy with all the controls. You've had as good a look as you want to do, one pro tip is if you feel a bit rushed inside the warehouse, as you'll see, there's a massive car park right next to it. So then, obviously, and it's also you got better light, providing it's not raining. Take the car out, and then you can give it as thorough a going over as you like. But if you don't bother or you've missed something, so for example, my kid saw a scratch on the B-pillar glass panel where one of the cameras is behind that glass panel, and he noticed, I think it was the next day, that there was a pretty deep scratch in the glass. Now that's totally cool. He just logged that in the Tesla app under service, and I think they would have changed it today. So because it went in for service today. So don't feel under pressure. It's not like if you don't catch it on the day, then you can't ever claim it later. There is a grace period of a number of days if you find anything that you're not happy with.
And a couple of 100 kilometres. So I've just put Harold into chat a link, but you can find it. All you have to do is Google TOCWA, TOCWA, and expect. There's an article called What to Expect When You're Expecting a Tesla. So for all those people who are expecting their Tesla soon, well worthwhile a read, even if I say so myself. It just has, a lot of different tips and things to do before you get your car, how to pay for it, what apps to download onto your phone. So one tip is to download the Tesla app and create an account and be logged in when you go in to pick up your car. That will make the whole process a lot smoother. Expect that process to only take about 15 minutes. That's how much they generally, and when you get your email inviting you to come and pick up your car, they will stipulate that it's a 15-minute appointment. But yeah, if you need more time, don't be rushed. Just take your time. And as Harold has said, you're more than welcome to drive it out, and you'll probably be getting your car you'll definitely be getting it from the Tesla delivery center. So that's different from the Tesla store. So the Tesla store is quite, it's a different address. So you got to put in the Tesla delivery center. There's huge amounts of free car park space just outside the delivery center there. So you can park the car there for hours if you need to and go over it as thoroughly as you need. But yeah, definitely have a read of that article. I'm not sure, can you pull it up, Harold, so people can have a quick look on the screen? It's in I put the link in the chat.
Yeah, I'm just
perhaps while that's happening also, Colin, the cameras may need calibrating. So
Yes.
when you start driving, you won't be able to use cruise control and things until the camera's finished calibrating. So just be prepared for that. It's normal.
They're getting better and better. I used to take like 100 kilometers in the early days. Now, sometimes it only takes about 10 or 15 kilometers before they self-calibrate. So, yeah.
Oh, and also go through you can do this when you're outside of the warehouse. So just in the adjacent car park, just go through all of the menu items methodically so you're happy with all the settings. So it can be a bit of a personal thing. For example, under, I think it's autopilot, I have all of the forward collision warnings on, and I have them set to early because I always like to be warned early about something. I prefer to get, I wouldn't call it a false warning, but maybe a premature warning of something I already probably knew about. I'd much rather get that early and just go, yeah, I already know. And just some of the things, a few things are, was it something obstacle aware acceleration can be a great feature. There is one little tiny negative. If you're being very aggressive crossing a road and you want to sort of like accelerate just as soon as a car has passed, because there's a relatively small gap to the next one coming along, you'll actually get a distinct lack of acceleration, which can be quite unsettling because it's almost like it's stalling, but it's not. But it then does recover. But there are all these settings.
if you keep your foot down, takes a second, and then then you'll get your torque back.
Exactly, but it's probably, as far as a safety feature goes, it's quite good. I actually showed my son that feature in my garage door, and I wasn't very far. No, his car was in front. That's right. Sorry, his car, it was a Kona, was in front of his Highland, and I just nailed the accelerator, and it lurched forward and then braked really hard. So it was quite a heart-stopping sort of moment of validation of the technology, which, yeah, if it let me down, would have been awkward.
Especially with your son's brand new car.
Exactly.
Howard, if you pull up the article, if you scroll down, there's a list of all those settings and recommendations. One of those is the automatic high beams. So with the car that you'll get, because it's a new car, it will have the matrix headlights. So I would definitely recommend the auto high beams, because you'll also be able to now select adaptive high beams, which are fantastic and a really important safety feature. But yeah, it runs through a lot of the settings. There's a video link to that as well. And yeah, there's a whole heap of other stuff, including things, there's all the apps, all the charging apps. You don't have to download all of those, but some of those are handy. And there's the ABCs, and there's also a bit about charging etiquette as well.
Those charging apps, are they ranked through quality or preference, or top to bottom?
I tried not to. So you'll notice ChargeFox right at the top, because that's probably the most prevalent in WA. Not sure if Smart Charge or ChargePoint or NextCharge should be next. I know EV's got 3 locations now. AmCharge is starting to get up there. Explorer's got quite a few, but they're mainly AC ones. And I'm not even sure if there's an Everty in WA as yet. And yeah, Wevolt is another one. It's probably not a comprehensive list. There's probably maybe 1 or 2 more now, but I try and update this as time goes on. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's in any particular order, but yeah, ChargeFox definitely number 1, and yeah, the rest, yeah. What I liked, and I think I mentioned that in the article, a good way to go is to download all the apps, set up your account, and set up your credit card on all the accounts, because you'll never know, you'll end up having to charge the car at a charger that you haven't charged at before. And especially if you have poor mobile connection or what have you, to spend 20 minutes trying to set up a credit card or an account, what have you, you could have had your car charged by then. So that can be quite frustrating. So yeah, good to do it in your own good time with good Wi-Fi while you're at home, and then you can just use the app when and if you need it.
Absolutely. Now, just circling back, I did find that video of the Cybertruck getting hit by the hammer, and here it is. But yeah, that was a good night. That was before. Notice that's before the window got smashed, and I've got a still image close up of what we all saw.
That's probably what caused the window to crack by all accounts post the event.
Yeah, absolutely, because you can actually see the force was so great that this is an old version that's had the door handles, and you can see the door handles jumped. Whoops. So I go back there. So anyway, that's
gave it a fair old whack.
Now. He did give it a big whack. Yeah, he did. Absolutely. Anyway. Alrighty. Oh yeah, the other thing too is with those charging apps, do get yourself an RFID card, because that really helps. You look, if you've got a MyFair, so the actual technology that's used is a MyFair card. So for example, if you've got a Smart Rider, you can use that as the token. The only trick to do is there is no proper MyFair. Actually, I think if you've got an Android phone, I think you might be able to read the MyFair serial number using an Android phone. If you've got an iPhone, like many of us, you're all out of luck because Apple does not permit stuff like that to be visible. But if you can get the serial number yourself, you can then just enter it into the various accounts such as ChargeFox, Everty, EV, and others. One tip is if you don't want to buy a card and you do have a Smart Rider, is you could actually go to one of the ChargeFox or say WAEV network sites and be on the phone to support at ChargeFox and say, can you please tell me what the serial number is of this card I'm badging at this charger location? And then you badge it, and that'll come up as an unapproved card, and they'll be able to give you the number, the serial number. Obviously, if you all do it at once, they probably won't be very happy, but you know, that's something that can be done. I guess it was a bit like the old days when we used to get phone numbers for people, and then you used to ask for the address because you're too lazy to look it up in the phone book. So they would often reluctantly give it to you. So you can do that. Get an RFID card, because as Pete alluded to, if you've got crappy internet, you know, that can be a very poor experience, particularly in some of the rural areas. WAEV network, you don't need it so much because you can absolutely at every location use tap and go with a tap and go card or a credit card or a debit card with wireless or tap and go. So
NFC.
that's with yeah, well, they're not RFID because RFID isn't, you can't use your credit card for that, but
it's NFC, isn't it? Oh,
yeah, well,
is it NFC?
Yeah, sort of. It's a
So
MyFair. Yeah, it's a MyFair card. And you can use the same card across platforms because, in essence, the card is literally just a reference. It's an account reference number, or it links to an account reference number. So you can use the same card, which I do. I've cross-pollinated my cards to multiple vendors, so I can just use any one of the cards and make it work. Alrighty, we got any other?
I was going to say that's really interesting. I've never heard anything like using a Smart Rider at the chargers.
Yes.
That's
Yep. Anything that's an anything that's got a MyFair card. So, you know, some MyFair cards are used for access control, just depending. So, like I said, anything that's got a MyFair card or anything that is a MyFair card can be used as a token. So that's pretty handy. Yeah, okay. So any other questions or comments? We've got about half an hour of the program maximum left to go.
Yeah, got one more.
Yes, go Trev.
I've noticed using the PlugShare app, we're sort of hopefully forecasting a trip to Darwin for the September school holidays. And if I put Bunbury to Darwin in there, it only gives us the choice to go the Great Northern Highway where there's no charges. Is there a workaround to get it to go the coastal road other than, I think I had to select Kalbarri to go to Darwin to get it to stick to the coastal road. Otherwise, even Lancelin, it tells me to go back down and around to go the Great Northern Road.
To be honest, I don't use the navigation on PlugShare as a route planner.
Yep.
I just pre-plan it. You said September, that to Darwin, that will be eminently doable. And it will be on almost nothing but fast DC charging. So if we look at PlugShare, so basically from Perth, it's going to be a bit polluted. Let's just go, we'll take off 3-phase and just keep Type 2 and CCS. So you've got WAEV network charges all the way along. Actually, if I just turn on 3-phase momentarily, you're going to have basically an unbroken string of charges no more than roughly 200 kilometres on average apart from each other. So you've basically got, from memory, you've got Perth, you've got Lancelin, you've got Jurien Bay, Geraldton, Northampton, you've got Overlander, you're going to have Billabong Roadhouse, you've got Carnarvon already, you've got Nanyatara, you've got Karratha already. There's going to be Wim Creek, but you don't actually need it. There will be Port Hedland. There is Pardue, but it's currently being fixed up. There's
There'll be
going to
Manila too, won't there, Harold? You went
Oh,
past
sorry,
Manila.
Manila. Sorry, apologies. Manila, just along here, just to turn off to Exmouth. Actually, it's sort of like Linden. Actually, I think they call it Linden. Well, that's the area. Manila. Yes, yeah. Thanks, Steve. Then you've got Pardue. You're going to have Sandfire. You're going to have Bidgidanga or Lagrange, just here. You've got Broome. You've got Derby, although it's being repaired. Fitzroy Crossing is actually working, but it's just not on ChargeFox at the moment. You're going to have the Mueller Ranges, sort of in between here. Then you've already got Halls Creek, Warman, Kununurra already done. You probably won't have Timber Creek. Probably, we don't know. You do have Catherine, and once you get to Catherine, you're fine to Darwin. Timber Creek, there is a problem that Rob Dean is going to clarify, and that is apparently that the charger, this 3-phase has apparently been removed for some reason. No one knows why, not even the manager. So that's something that Rob Dean will be clarifying on Friday, exactly what the situation is.
So when you're doing a trip of that sort of magnitude, it's easier just to, obviously I don't have the car yet, but you'd normally navigate on the car just to confirm that all the charges along the line are all up, rather than, I thought, having the app with all the destinations put in there, you just confirm that they're all green and then you hit the road and off you go.
I won't do that. There aren't many of the WAV network fast DC chargers that are on the actual inherent map in the car. There's only actually a very small subset of them. What you do is you sort of, well, you can actually, the other thing too is you can look on ChargeFox, on the ChargeFox app. So that will actually show you, because all of the WAV network chargers are on ChargeFox. So again, you can basically look at the map, and let me just spotlight myself just temporarily. So for example, that's basically the map. It obviously, all the pins towards the southwest are, they're all sitting over each other. You can see the red pin, which is basically the black pin, which is basically Pardue, and on it, it says that 0 out of 2 of the CCS or the Type 2 are available. And at the moment, it says that there's upgrades to the power system currently underway. It wrongly says charging is currently available during daylight hours. Unfortunately, that's now old news. It's not available at all and hasn't been for the last couple of weeks. But that's where you get ChargeFox. The ChargeFox app is where you'll get live information. Bearing in mind that some of those locations won't have any DC available because they might be in use or even faulty, they'll still show orange because there will be AC charging available as a backup. So when you're actually doing the trip, and the good thing is you've got plenty of time, and we're only too happy to discuss it further closer to the time when you go. In fact, I'll be going in September, I think it's early September, or is it late August, something like that, myself in that direction. So I'll also be doing some ground truthing to make sure everything's working okay. But it's an easy trip. There are a few of us in the room that have done it, and we've done it in far more adverse conditions with just AC charging in some pretty crappy locations and having to skip locations where there's unfriendly charging, basically. So the only one will be Timber Creek. Rob Dean, our TOCWA's chair, is going to confirm what the situation is on Friday. If for some reason the 3-phase has been removed, we will offer to send up another donated wall connector and have that installed at that location, so that all EVs can use it. Incidentally, from memory, the distance between Kununurra and Katherine is about 515 kilometres, which is a bit too far. Actually, what car are you getting, Trev?
3 long range.
Yeah, okay. Look, you could make
If
it.
there's a car that can make it, that's the car.
You could do it, but you much prefer to just charge at Timber Creek.
Yeah,
it can be done. Now, one little, I guess you can almost describe it as a dirty little secret. Well, it's not really a dirty little secret. Is when you see the range stated, 500 and whatever it's kilometers. Yes, it can do that, but it can do it in an urban condition on tarmac, so flat, smooth roads, doing say 70, 80 kilometers an hour.
Dry roads too.
Yeah.
Say again, Steve?
Roads, we're starting to get some rain. The roads have to be dry to get that. They can't be wet.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is that you will get that very long range on nice, flat, smooth, quiet tarmac at a moderate speed. If you go to 110 on some of the chip seal roads, which have got 15 mil aggregate just stuck on top of tar, then that will, you hear the road noise, and that's wasted energy. And as Steve alluded to, your tires act as water pumps, and they are literally pumping and moving water, and water obviously has momentum or inertia, and you are pumping and wasting energy, pumping a lot of water. And again, your range will go down. Bearing in mind, this happens in petrol and diesel vehicles as well. It's just that we haven't historically paid a lot of attention to it, because...
But one thing that's different with EVs, and one thing to keep in mind, is unlike a internal combustion engine car, which gets better efficiency on the highway, an EV actually gets better efficiency in the city because you can use your regen braking, which can add up to about 20% or so to your range. But, on a long country road like that, you've got no opportunity to be using your regen. You'll probably just have cruise control turned on at, 100k an hour or whatever you're doing. So, so you'll actually get less range on the highway. Plus, there's other factors like the fairly rough road. Obviously, if you get hit with any rain, it's always good to have a plan B as well. So when Harold and I did the laps around Australia in our Model Ys, I was averaging 160 watt hours for about 13,000 kilometres, right up until I got to Meriden. And then the very last leg to Perth, I was caught in really heavy rain with quite strong headwind, and my 160 watt hours spiked to well over 300. I think I even saw 330 at one stage. So that basically means that my range instantly halved. So you've got to keep that up your back pocket. If anything like that happens, so in that article, one of the ABCs is adjust battery consumption. So Harold has proven this point. If you drive 110k an hour and you drop just 10 kilometres an hour, it will give you about 14% of your remaining range, an extra 14% of your remaining range. If you drop another 10 kilometres an hour down to 90, you'll get about a third more. So the difference between driving 110 and 90, if it's saying that you're only going to get there with 100 kilometres, is you might get there with 130 kilometres. So obviously the lighter you are on the accelerator and the brake and even the regen, the better. So on your car, you'll have the latest software. So your what do we call that worm? Your acceleration meter or your your usage meter. So it'll be on the right-hand side in the top right-hand corner. It's very faint, but if it goes black, if it goes up, it will be in black. That means you're using energy. If you could call it an energy meter, I suppose. If it goes down, it will turn green, which means you're using regen, you're putting power back into your battery. So the closer you stay to that middle, the more efficient you're driving. So, to stay really close to the middle, you've got to be really light on the accelerator and light on the regen as well. And the way you're light on the regen is, rather than just taking a foot off the accelerator and getting the car to slow down, you take your foot off the accelerator a little bit earlier, and you just take your foot off the accelerator nice and slowly, so that you're only putting a little bit back into the battery.
Having said that, obviously on a road trip, virtually all the chargers will be operational, and you won't have to, because the interval of each charger is on average 200 kilometers or less, and you've got a car that's capable of doing, at roughly 400 kilometers, you don't have to worry about that sort of driving tactic on your road trip. It's just if you get caught where you make a decision, do I sit here on AC, which you'll gain about, most places you'll gain about 70 to 80 kilometers of range added per hour. Once you get used to your car and you get over this range anxiety, which is this sort of mythical thing that everyone describes as a reason for not getting an EV, and it's really not an anxiety for range, it's an anxiety of where is the next charging location. Because I can tell you now, in the old days, in the 1960s and even in the 1970s in Northern Australia, I've actually saw a sign in Hughenden, I think it was Hughenden, that said, it was an old Golden Fleece petrol station sign that said, no, you're in the outback, no fuel, no water, something else for 500 miles. So you will get conventional fuel range anxiety if you know there's no petrol station for another 500 kilometers or 600 or 700 kilometers. So the anxiety comes about if you are unsure or don't know where the next charging location is. If you've just left somewhere and you know you've got 200 k's to go and you've got more than 3/4 of your battery full, you will absolutely know that you're going to make it. And even then, if something weird happens and there's a thunderstorm or whatever, all you have to do, like Pete said, is you just slow down. Rather than doing 110, you do 100. If you still aren't going to make it, you do 90. You can do 80. I've driven in my Model X on my first lap 471 kilometers in a Model X with a battery capacity less than a Model Y long range, and I had to do it at 60 k's an hour non-stop. High stakes because there was no alternative. So it can be done. But in modern times, for an example, I've done 474 kilometers in a long range Model Y with the Gemini wheels, and I averaged about 90 kilometers per hour. Although some of that I was following a road train, and it was in the evening or late. It was on dusk.
Which is the best time to drive, by the way. So
it is very efficient, not necessarily for livestock and other things, which can be pretty scary. But
yeah, I've had to cross the Nullarbor at 60 k an hour one time because there's so much wildlife, and I was in a car with very little ground clearance. So, yeah.
Yeah, one thing that worries me is if you're following a truck, for example, even at a safe distance, just be aware that if there's a dead kangaroo, you're going to need lightning reflexes to not run over it, because the truck will glide over it, and you won't necessarily glide over it. So that's one of the things to be really careful of. But like I said, I'll be doing the trip before the school holidays, because school holidays are at the end of September, and I'm quite confident that everything bar Timber Creek will be nothing but silver service as far as DC charges go.
Yeah.
By the way,
we used to stop in caravan parks occasionally too.
Sorry, Steve?
Caravan
occasionally you'd have to overnight in a caravan park if there was nothing else available. That's what your 15 amps UMC's for.
That's your plan. That's your plan C and plan D, hopefully. But what Harold was talking about, with dropping your speed if you're not going to reach your destination, Your car is pretty clever. As long as you've got the right destination in your nav, it will actually tell you that you're not going to reach your destination unless you slow down. So it'll beep and scream at you, and it will tell you to slow down to 100 km an hour, and then it will tell you to slow down to 90 or what have you. So your car will do a lot of that for you. Another good tip, and it's actually another ABC. So always browse comments on PlugShare. So on PlugShare, obviously have a look at where you're looking to charge. Have a look at the PlugShare score. So it's a score out of 10. If it's anything like 7, 8, 9, and 10, it's probably a good chance that the charge is working. If it's 2, 3, or 4, good chance that it might not be working. But the best thing to do is just to have a look at the last, 2 or 3 people that have charged there. And if they've charged there recently and they've had no issues and they've got a green tick, there's a good chance that the charger is still obviously in good condition. But if the last 2 or 3 have charged there recently and they couldn't charge, then obviously read what they've written and maybe make a alternative plan.
So you can see here at Pardue Roadhouse, this is Rob Dean, and he's basically said Horizon switched off the DC charger a couple of weeks ago without telling anyone. So then you know. And then you should take that as being suspect, especially if you haven't got, say, telemetry from ChargeFox. Just presume it is suspect, and obviously go and have a look just to make sure, because it could save you some time. But as Pete says, just read comments, look at the PlugShare score, and you'll be fine. And like I said, by then the network will be effectively complete. And look, the NRMA may surprise us and even do something at Timber Creek, which is one of their planned locations as well, or perhaps the Victoria River Roadhouse.
Just for completeness, there is another app called A Better Route Planner. I haven't found that helpful in WA, but you may have a different experience, so you can download that and give that a shot as well.
Just while we've been talking, guys, about chargers, I haven't done this for about a year. I've just discovered that BP seem to be rolling out something called Charge Hub, and which Ampol are now using Amp Charge as well. And the Ampol one is on PlugShare, but the BP one doesn't seem to be showing up there.
No, because there's no BP sites in Western Australia for the time being.
There's one just up the road from me. It's telling me on the website.
Oh, pray tell. Show me the link.
Is it committed yet, though?
It's on Google.
Can you chuck the link in the chat, please? Because I'll have a quick look. We've got about 12 minutes to go, so I'll be prompt. I'll need to be prompt. But when I looked at BP a few weeks ago, there was nothing in Western Australia and no announcement of anything coming to Western Australia yet. They're doing it. Oh, sorry, you just gave me an address. Is that right?
Yeah. That was the address.
Do you have BP's website? Do you have the BP Pulse website?
I just Googled EV Chargers Perth, and it came up saying Charge Hub charging station with that address.
Yeah, but Charge Hub is not BP. BP is BP Pulse.
That address is the BP petrol station.
Oh, sorry, yes, but it's not a BP. Yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough. Yep, sorry. Okay, yes, that's a different. It's a different provider. It's not BP.
Okay.
BP have their own. They have an app. They keep trying to get people to join their app, and when you open it, there's nothing in Western Australia.
Hang on.
And something that since. It's not going to. I had horrendous problems in England with BP. I just want to go as a guest.
I've just sent the map link to Google.
Actually, BP Pulse, the Pulse app is so useless you can't even see a map. You have to actually scan a QR code at the station you're at by magically knowing where it was, because otherwise you couldn't have driven there. And then you can start the session. That's BP Pulse.
Okay.
Incidentally,
Sorry,
you
is
go
this a trend? Petrol stations now coming on board with chargers?
it is in the in the first world, but in Australia,
okay.
it's very limited. So
pretty much every single BP in the UK has got a charger.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of them don't work, Pete, because guess who they're made by?
Oh no, not Tritium.
No, even worse.
What's worse than Tritium?
Starts with the letter V and ends in the letter N. Volkswagen.
Oh.
It was part
Okay.
it's part of their Dieselgate sin thing.
It was they didn't make them because they wanted to make them. They made them because they had to make them.
And I don't think they made them very well. They're actually battery augmented, so they only draw about 50 kilowatts, but they can deliver nearly 200 kilowatts. But I had some awful problems in I think it was Northern Ireland. Terrible problems.
Right.
So and I was on vapors. I was it was getting pretty dire.
Right.
I was I
When
was
you're
on
saying
vapors.
tritium is bad, I just discovered Curtin University has 2 tritium on site.
Well, they're not just.
No, they have one tritium and an ABB.
Ah, is that what that? I thought it was 2. Okay. Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do they work?
Hands off, Darren, because I use them fairly regularly. The ABB has been faulting for a while.
Okay.
If we just look on PlugShare,
That's the one next to the the 50 kilowatts next to the Prime Ministerial Library.
I guess you could call it that. Probably. I guess so.
That's what the sign says.
it's
Next to the beehive.
Yeah, maybe it's building 211.
Yep.
And that's an RTM tritium. That's got a PlugShare score of 10. And then the future batteries, which is an ABB, the last check-in. Oh, there's been some. Okay, it's been fixed again. Okay, cool. So this is a 25 kilowatt, quite slow. Well, 22 kilowatts DC, slow
That's
DC.
at the School of Engineering and Electrical something or other.
No, it's at the future batteries.
Yeah, well then.
Building. It's nowhere near engineering building. Engineering is basically sort of up around here somewhere.
So the electrical so the first one there next to where it says new technologies, that's the 50 kilowatt.
This one here, this is 50 kilowatts. Yep.
Does that one work?
Yes.
Okay.
For the time being, until it doesn't, because I think tritium has been bought out, but whoever bought them out is on the basis of 0 warranty claims and 0 product support.
Right.
As you would when you buy something that's gone broke, because you wouldn't want to inherit all of their liabilities. So it's not a matter of if tritium breaks, it's a matter of simply when. And when that happens, that will be the end of that product.
I got so excited thinking to myself, great, there's one here that's 50 kilowatts and I can charge really quickly.
And no, you can. And it's very, very popular. It's very, very busy. Okay. I've only rarely gone there where it's not occupied. And something before we go, because I have to go in a couple of minutes, is unfortunately humans, because they're very resourceful, they're getting into the habit of doing things like, if they see that someone's check-in is about to expire, they haven't even reached the location and they check in. So that then they hope that people will see that they've checked in while they're on the way to the charger and not bother going there and beat them to it. I've seen that behavior. I've seen a few sharp practices. I've even seen someone saying they were waiting even though they weren't there. And someone even sent me a message through PlugShare asking me how long I'd be there, and they weren't there. So, unfortunately, it's human nature. you know, it's a tragedy of the commons. When something is for free, everyone jumps onto it and extracts as much of that freeness as possible. And they get very shirty at people that don't instantly check in on PlugShare or you know, are there. And then some people come out with, you know, a long range Model Y, and they will charge it to 100%, even though that will take an extra half an hour from being at sort of say 90%, because
Just
I want to extract maximum value.
because you use that particular one, do you pay your cello parking as well?
Yes, there's
okay.
actually a specific, and that
There's
was
a rate
really
for it.
painful because when I did a master's at Curtin about, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, I had cello parking and then it lapsed, and I had to re-enter my thing details, my payment details. I then had to re-enter, put in a new car because the rego was different. It was quite painful, and I was quite concerned that one of the cars with the cameras would get my number plate before I actually logged in. But it's from memory, it's 1,201 or 100,201 is the car park designator, and it's 24/7. You've got to pay, but it's really reasonable. It's only $2 something an hour. It's very cheap.
I noticed that. There's 3 cello parking rates for EV on campus.
Yes,
and that's a good one.
3 different locations. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, IGA is cheapest.
Yes, but the IGA is only a slow charger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, do make sure to do the right thing, and pay for the cello park. But that's the only cost. The rest, the actual charging, is for free.
Just one quick one before we go, Harold.
Yes.
New South Wales, the state government is funding curbside charges for about 400 locations, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Meanwhile, we still only have a single DC charger in Joondalup and not even one at the airport in Perth. So time that our state government started looking at their next lot of plans for EV chargers here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been too long, and it really is time that they went on to the next round of charges. You know, Great Northern Highway, and then a lot of other locations too, and in and around the city. So that really needs to be done, so that the state government can demonstrate their willingness to, you know, accelerate the transition to electric cars.
Well, it would be consistent with everything they've already said publicly about the space. So they just need to do what they've been saying they are going to do.
Absolutely. Alrighty, we've got about 2 minutes to go, so it'd be time to sign off. So Pete, how would you sign off an awesome show like this?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
The best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join TOCWA, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Have a wonderful long weekend, everyone. If you're up in Kalbarri on the weekend, look forward to seeing you there if you can make it. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.